Elizabeth Lane, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
So I was thinking about this interview. I never preemptively respond to criticism or really respond at all. But in this one specific case, I was thinking about it because you're from Georgia, not Atlanta.
No, not Atlanta. The country.
The country of Georgia, the Caucasian country of Georgia. And you have been accused of being a foreign intel operative, right?
Yes.
Which you deny.
Of course.
I just want to say out loud, I don't care. Because that's not the point. The point is the story you're about to tell true or is it not? And I should also say, having spent my entire life talking to undeclared intel operatives from one country or another, you look back and you're like, oh, wait, you were working on behalf of that country. Live in a country where, operatives for Israel are everywhere in our media.
Yes.
Paid or unpaid, irrelevant to me. Even when Mark Levin says something, my first response, I force myself, is to ask, is this true? Because that's what matters. So your critics would like the conversation to be about you, and I would like to see a conversation about what you're saying. So I just want to say that up front.
I love it. Yeah.
No, because that's what matters. And the whole thing is a diversion tactic designed to get you off of whatever the person has claimed onto the person.
Exactly.
And I don't personally play along with that. I hope that you don't, but I just want to say that out loud before we begin. So here's the reason that I was so anxious to talk to you, because I think you've gotten a lot of reporting and insight facts into a phenomenon that all of us have noticed in the past several years, which is the proliferation of, I don't want to use the word bot, but paid influence operations online.
Absolutely.
On social media. And it's not just that people feel so passionately about something that they become a shill for this or that. It seems more organized than that, much more organized than that. And in fact, it is. And so I'm going to stand back and let you tell the story, but I will want to kick it off by asking you, where is all of this coming from? So the president, for example, says we're going to have a memorandum of understanding with Iran, really our only option, clearly. And all of a sudden, there's just a wave of attacks against him. Someone else will stand up and say, wait a second, it looks like Russia could actually send a hypersonic missile into Poland. Maybe we should de-escalate. Wave of attacks. Shut up, Russian agent. What is the source of all that?
I'm glad you asked that, and I'm glad you mentioned the president, because some people think that it's coming from our government, and it's not. That's the thing. It's not coming from Trump's administration. It's not coming from the government trying to shut the dissidents up. No, it's much bigger than that. And there are people who speculated before that it is only from Israel. It is from Israel as a state. They don't even hide it. They declared themselves under FARA to get some type of control over our social media. But that's something that I'm not even worried about, because we know they are under FARA, and we know we are going to run into operatives that work with them. Millions of dollars are wasted on this. What I'm worried about is
wasted on it. No, you're right. And I know the operatives personally who are working for them.
Some attacked you?
I haven't even paid any attention, but I know Brad Parscale. And these are sad, screwed up people who are not going to. He couldn't convince you to come to dinner at his house. I don't think he's going to convince you to change your allegiance to a foreign country. So I agree with you. I don't think it's that dangerous.
Yes. So, but there is much more dangerous force behind this. And you mentioned bots. So we got to differentiate between bots and paid propagandists, okay? So paid propagandists are not afraid to show their faces. They are actually out there speaking openly about Israel and how we should support Israel over the United States. But bots are way more dangerous because they are faceless. And they operate in the shadows. They get information about family members and information they, by the way, should not have, some of this. And somehow they utilize this X, Facebook, Instagram to put it out there and ruin independent journalists. And by ruin, I mean they lie. They flat out lie, make up stories, and somehow that story ends up on big newspapers in the United States.
Yes.
And I'm about to tell you how that happens.
May I ask, just for a more precise definition, what is a bot exactly?
So bot is somebody who's faceless. Some avatar will be on this type of.
Is there a person behind that, or is that AI?
Sometimes, mostly it's AI, but there are real people behind it too. And you can tell by how they respond to the comments, right? Some are just actual paid bots that are there to be vicious.
Right.
And respond to people.
And those are human beings.
Those are human beings. And there's like another part of it where just AI generates the same exact responses. And that's why you see when you said, well, we got to have some deal with Iran, and the same exact responses go out, like those are bots, like exact same sentences, right? Those are bots.
Whether they're human or not doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But always human operates even these bot farms, right? There's always some corporation or company that operates. No. And we will dive into all of that. Trust me. Like I will, by the time I'm done here, people will know exactly who's behind, what names they need to pay attention to, and what's really going on. And the same people hate Trump, by the way. They, like I said, it's not coming from Trump administration.
They've always hated Trump.
They always hated him. Yes.
And to see him do their bidding wittingly or unwittingly, consciously or unconsciously, intentionally or against his will, it doesn't matter. It's the most sad thing.
Yes. So like to make it, people like easy enemies. Like people like to point fingers like, oh, well, he's evil. Let's fight him. But people don't like complexities. They don't like the web. They just want easy answers. Like, who's the enemy? We go fight, right? Unfortunately, that's not how real life works. Sometimes it's more complicated. And this is why I got to start with a story so that we can get to current situation and how we ended up
And that's
here.
part of the appeal of hating Israel is that it makes it very simple. Israel's committing genocide. Obviously, it's an evil country. I mean, they're committing genocide, so like they're evil.
True.
But it doesn't mean that they're running the entire world, because they're not.
They're not.
I know you
do. And so first, let me thank you for everything you are. Like, because I don't think you get that enough, and you should.
I know.
I know you're modest, but here's the thing, Tucker. People like me would have given up a long time ago if not for people like you. Because you blaze, the trail for everyone else. And this is why it becomes easier for us to fight, because they know that we don't have the backing and they come after us and all that. So, yeah.
Well, thanks. So, if it's not Israel, but just to be totally clear, it's not a defense of the government of Israel, which is totally indefensible, but it's just an acknowledgement of reality.
Right.
That is way too simple.
Yes.
And it's just not, it's not true. So they're not running the world. Sorry.
Yes.
Who is?
And it's not just Israel, but yes. So let me start with a very interesting story, okay? In 2018, there was a hack that happened, and it didn't get nowhere near the attention it deserved, and for a reason, because what got exposed was a military intelligence operation in the media. And do you think that media would expose themselves by writing about it? Of course not. But it got enough attention that it got investigated. And the hack was done by an entity called Anonymous, okay?
I remember.
Remember Anonymous that they destroyed? Like Anonymous doesn't really exist anymore.
No.
So
neither does LiveLeak or any of the...
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. So Anonymous hacks something called Integrity Initiative. And Integrity Initiative was a project ran under Institute of Statecraft. Okay? Well, no one knew what the heck Institute of Statecraft was. It was a think tank, obscure think tank, doing its own thing. But once the exposure came out, people started paying attention because we realized how big and deep the issue ran. So some journalists that you might know, Max Blumenthal, for example, and others, actually got on this case. And they were like, this is more serious than they are telling us about. Thousands of emails came out and documents. And we learned that Institute of Statecraft was running a military operation in the media using resources to go after politicians and independent journalists, smearing them, writing the chain of articles so that they can prevent certain politicians from obtaining power in different, not just one, but in different countries and parliaments. One of them was Jeremy Corbyn, for example. I'll dive into that too. So first, let's talk about this Institute of Statecraft and what it was. Well, journalists want to check it out, where this entity is located. The public address said it was in Scotland. So some independent journalists went to see what it looks like. And when they got there, they only found an abandoned building. There was nothing there, like just an abandoned building. So they were like, okay, so this is a wrong address, even though officially that's what they say they are located at, right? So they go back and they dive into these documents that got hacked, and they finally found the real address. And it was 2 Temple Place, Central London. It was a former house of Knights Templar. And then they call other people conspiracy theorists. It's just very funny. But yeah, they picked the place. I didn't. So what came out in the emails and communications was pretty damaging, because here's a crew of journalists, intelligence officers, by the way, like Chris Donnelly, all British, some from other countries like Finland, Russia, Georgia, like that was a Ukrainian Russian, not really Russian. And all these like different countries and journalists who are on this chart, secret chart that was not supposed to be out in public. Yes. And when you look at them, they don't really work together. So there's like no real records that these people ever work together. But here's a chart from an actual organization that says they do work together, and they themselves designed it. I'll explain this too. So what they did is they would communicate with each other via different means, like email was one of them. And they would write up these smear campaigns against people they didn't like. And they did all of this is my favorite part, under the guise of fighting Russian disinformation. Okay?
Yes.
Of course. So they got the funds because the idea was, we need to fight Russian disinformation. And we need crew of journalists and somehow military officers for it and intel officers for it. And we are going to go after everyone that spreads Russian disinformation. Now explain to me, Tucker, how is Jeremy Corbyn, a British politician, a Russian agent? Because that's what they said. Well, they didn't want Jeremy Corbyn in power, so they started smearing the guy, writing articles like Jeremy Corbyn is like spewing Russian propaganda. He's an agent. He's Putin's lover. He's Putin's puppet. You name it.
And he's a Nazi. He's an anti-Semite.
Exactly.
Well, a lot of organizations talk about supporting veterans, but not all of them actually do it, not even close. And that's why we only partner with companies we know are telling the truth and really working earnestly to make a difference. Black Rifle Coffee is one of them. We've been partners with them for years. We know them. Black Rifle supports good-hearted American philanthropies like Boot Campaign. For years, Boot Campaign has provided individualized care for veterans and military families dealing with the wounds of foreign wars, PTSD, chronic pain, traumatic brain injuries. When you get your coffee from Black Rifle, which we do because it's delicious, you help keep missions like Boot Campaigns alive. Caring for American heroes does not stop when they leave the military. That's why companies like Black Rifle and groups like Boot Campaign are vital. To help today, visit bootcampaign.org, bootcampaign.org.
But
now, what was it? Do you have any idea what the calculation was there? Why were they opposed to Jeremy Corbyn?
So I don't know exactly why.
He was the head of the Labour Party in Britain.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed about these people is very simple. They oppose everyone that's not on their side. So
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're a Nazi or a good guy or whatever. Like if you're not part of the crew, you don't get to do anything.
And the agenda is a globalist agenda.
100%. 100%. It's the same agenda why NATO was created. Their agenda is the same agenda as like George Soros, for example. George Soros is a huge part of the story.
Yes.
Huge part. So whatever George Soros's agenda always was is the same that these people share very, passionately. So Jeremy Corbyn was not the only one. They had somebody called I gotta look, sorry. It's a lot of names. Pedro Bados or something like that. So anyway, a Spanish military guy. So this Pedro was considered for one of the highest positions in national security in Spain. I looked him up. He's a decent guy. Like he just has his own channel, like talks about politics, opposes globalism with everything he can. So they decided that Pedro Banos was going to be a Russian agent, even though he had no connections to Russia whatsoever. So yeah, they started writing pieces that Pedro can never be part of national security in Spain because he's a Russian agent, he's a Putin puppet. So anyway, the same exact thing. The tactics never change. You're Russian agents, therefore you don't get to be in positions like of power, right? So they destroyed Pedro Banos' candidacy. he did not go and occupy the post that he was named for. So they completely destroyed him.
Wow.
So they have power. Yes.
So who are they exactly?
Yeah. So this is where we get to the most important part, okay? Well, everything I'm going to say from their own words and their own charts and what they wrote in those documents. And this is one of the charts I brought you. These are they, by the way. I don't know if you can see it, but these are journalists, these are intel officers, and everyone that was on the chart. I don't know if you can see it, but I can explain it. So, I don't want to confuse people by lots of names, so I'm going to give you the most important names that kind of drove the show, right? Chris Donnelly was one of them, and Chris Donnelly is a British army intelligence officer. He was the one who got the funds for something called Integrity Initiative. And you know who paid the money? British Foreign Office. Yes. So you have a think tank running an operation in the media that is funded by British Foreign Office, and we know nothing about it. Okay?
And its stated purpose was what? Just to
fight Russian disinformation. But they are doing it through intel officers. And how is that justified? And they have these journalists assigned in every country, which we will talk about. As you can see, there's a network management there. So they have these journalists assigned to different countries with the teams, how they're going to fight this Russian disinformation, right? So one of them was Jessica Aro from Finland. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
No one has. The only people who know who Jessica Aro is, people in Finland, okay? So because I'm not an expert in Finland, when I started investigating this network, I said, I need people on the ground, independent journalists who will help me identify what this Jessica Aro actually did, right? So they advised me to reach out to 4 different Finnish journalists. I made sure to pick the ones that are completely independent. I said, I want journalists with 2-bedroom apartments, nothing more. I need people who have no money and are in it for the good. So they advised 4 different people. Okay, 2 of them knew each other. The other 2 was on the other side of the political spectrum, so they didn't really communicate, which is exactly what I wanted because you're getting 2 different perspectives. I kid you not. Every single one of them, when I mentioned this hack, said, look into Jessica Aro. Without exceptions. Every single one. This is the woman you need to look into. She's a deep state operative. So then I started asking, what did she do? And one of the journalists said, well, she ruined independent journalists and their careers and their lives. Yeah. So I'll tell you her direct story coming from her own mouth, okay? She said she had a nice career, like you did, on actual network. She even worked for BBC. And when she started telling the truth about Russian-Ukrainian war, she got fired. So she was like, okay, well, I get fired. I don't care. Like, I'm going to do what you did, start her own thing. And after she started her own thing, they just started hammering her. You're a Russian agent. You're a Russian puppet. You work for another government. The same exact strategy, Tucker. It got so bad that her neighbor called the authorities on her.
Yeah, that sounds like Finland.
Yes. That is.
I'm part Finnish. I can say this. It's a wonderful country, smartest people in the world, beautiful, but very strange.
Yes.
And the most conformist place. It's a shame. I think one of the only white countries with a shame culture, an Asian shame culture.
I completely agree.
It's a very different kind of place. It's not quite Europe. No.
Yeah. But here's like the interesting part. Authorities get there, right? And they investigate whatever they do. And they tell this neighbor, she's not Russian agent. You're fine. Just shut up. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
So here's a great case, Tucker, where authorities know exactly what's going on, that no one is a Russian agent, yet they're absolutely okay with this clan of people on that paper. This is not my chart. This is their chart. Attacking independent journalists, completely destroying their career. Oh, so why you're not a Russian agent and we just destroyed your career, but shut up. It's okay.
Home ownership has always been at the center of the American dream. It is an actual asset, a place people work their entire lives to build, a place of stability and security and real value. Right now, though, too many homeowners are stuck swiping credit cards to cover groceries. There's basically a survival tax of 20% interest or more. So why keep handing your money to the banks when you could keep it for your family? Interest is what kills you. Our friends at American Financing have a better way. They're helping homeowners use their hard-earned equity, and they're supporting Americans looking to fulfill the dream of owning a home with mortgage rates currently in the 5s. American Financing saves its customers an average of $800 a month. That's about $10,000 a year. It's not just a loan, it's a true financial reset. We recommend American Financing. They're called America's home for home loans for a reason. So get out of credit card debt. I mean, it is just crazy to borrow money. No judgment, but it doesn't make any sense to borrow money at that rate. If you want out, call 800-685-5696. 800-685-5696 or visit americanfinancing.net/Tucker. It's interesting that they would, so this is a group based in the UK, funded by the UK Foreign Office.
Not only UK, as you can see, there's like, let me show you.
But it's interesting that they feel they have to crush a Finnish, someone in Helsinki. It's a country of 5 million people.
Yeah,
like,
well,
why do
they
care?
also crushed people. Let me read this to you. So they have one in Visegrad countries. They have Ukraine. They have Baltic countries. So these are clusters, Tucker. They assign their agents, or whatever they call like themselves, they assign their journalist agents to every country. So they have clusters in Baltic countries. They have clusters in Georgia, in Ukraine, so Eastern European countries, in Finland and other places. And one is in the United States, and we'll talk about that too. And this is how they operate. Now, because there are a lot of names and all these journalists are little, operators of these people and go out and, they bake a new article about Tucker Carlson or something so that people think that you are a Russian agent or Qatari agent or whatever. That's what they do. This is a network they have. So the part that I want to talk about is the names that are most important here, okay? Chris Donnelly was one of them because guy is a British, intelligence, like army intelligence agents running the operation like this. What is this? And another one is Ben Nemo, who I think is extremely important figure. So Ben Nemo worked as a NATO correspondent. By the way, they all start in journalism and they advance either in politics, like Sikorski, for example, the Polish minister.
Radek.
Yes.
Yeah. Anne Applebaum's husband.
Yes, correct. Did you know that he also started as a journalist?
I remember when he was a journalist in the 1980s, writing for National Review magazine.
There you go.
Yeah.
So all of them do, Tucker. And if you look at this chart, then they move up. So they start as journalists and then they do their due diligence there. And then they get promoted in different places like OpenAI or NATO or something. And I'll tell you Ben Nemo's case. So I looked into Ben Nemo and I was like, this guy is very interesting. He starts as a correspondent with NATO and then he joins NATO's press office as an employee. He then ends up in an American think tank, Atlantic Council, and he works for, get this, Digital Forensics Lab. And what does Digital Forensics Lab does? Well, they recruit little keyboard fighters to fight Russian disinformation on social media. So what happens is Ben Nemo, that just got exposed under British military intelligence operation, running after journalists and attacking opposition in Britain and attacking some guy in, in Spain, this military guy that they didn't want to get the position. Again, their own document says that, not me. So now somebody thought it was a good idea to take Ben Nemo and put him as one of the main figures in Digital Forensics Lab in Atlantic Council so they can manipulate American media, I guess. Now, am I saying Ben Nemo is the head of everything? No, but he's one guy involved in both operations that do exactly the same thing. One in big media, like these guys, and another one on social media. But it gets better. So, yes, Ben Nemo joins OpenAI. He works with them now. And there's another person that needs a lot of attention. That's Peter Pomerantsev, okay? You come from big media. Have you ever heard of Peter Pomerantsev?
No,
Never. Right? Well, he's very important. He writes for biggest publications. He writes for The Atlantic. He writes for New York Times. He writes for all the big newspapers in America that you can...
Most discredited
but
so-called news organizations in the country. Yeah,
I agree. But he does that though.
Who is he?
Peter Pomerantsev is a Kiev-born Jewish person that somehow got British citizenship, which is very questionable because I tried to look into how did that happen, and I couldn't find
He's originally Ukrainian.
Yes, Ukrainian-born Jewish person. He ends up being a British citizen. Then he somehow ends up going to Russia to join media sphere there. I don't know what happened. He got kicked out probably. I don't know what happened, but he ends up coming back to Britain and starting working with the biggest publications you can imagine. But here's a question I have for you. As a journalist, as America's #1 newsman, when you were at Fox,
right?
But you are though. You had most. What was your show's ratings?
I don't know. I never.
But it was big, right?
Yeah, it was big. Yeah,
yeah.
It was the biggest in cable news, but I always thought that was like being the hottest Supreme Court justice.
Biggest in cable news. Great.
Yeah.
How many honors and medals do you have?
I would have to go into my honors and medals room, and I haven't been in a while because my servants are dusting it.
But do you have a lot of medals in it? Yeah,
No,
thank you.
None.
Well, Peter beat you with a ton of them. He has a lot.
Awards?
He has a lot. Yes. If we didn't know, yes, honors and all kinds.
I've never heard of the guy.
Yeah, I know. So he gets a ton of
journalists
honors.
awarding themselves. And I've been in this 35 years this month. I've been doing this. And these people, the idea that you would get an award, I'm an award-winning journalist, really, who gave you the award? On the basis of what? I've never won any award in journalism that I know of.
Exactly.
Well, I'd be glad not to win an award. I don't want an award. I wouldn't accept an award.
How many times have you testified in front of Congress, UK Parliament, or American Senate? How many times I want to ask you, because it's so interesting. How many times have you given them advice on wars, Tucker, or information?
Well, I did give Trump a lot of advice on wars, like don't have them, but he ignored
But what about
advice.
What about U.S. Congress or Senate?
No, they hate me. They've always hated me.
Right.
Right. Our job is to focus on the people with actual power,
right,
who are writing history in real time and assess what they're doing and tell our readers or viewers about it. That's just a really simple job. And so your job is not to suck up to power at all.
Right. I agree. Well, Peter Pomerantsev has given plenty of advice to our Congress and Senate. Did you know that?
No, I've never heard of the guy. And he's a famous award-winning journalist?
Well, he's a famous, honored journalist on so many different awards, honored as so
it's hilarious.
Yes.
It's a pretty small world. I mean,
right?
Journalism is pretty small.
Yeah. So he also, like I said, advised Pomerantsev. Yes.
Pardon, my accent doesn't allow.
Yeah. Well,
accurate pronunciations.
No. I mean, it's a hard last name, right? And so here's an interesting part, though. This guy advised UK Parliament. I mean, he's British. Why do we care? Whatever they want to do. But he also advised our Senate.
On what?
How to fight Russian disinformation and politics and all that. And there's an actual video. I put it up online where he goes, well, the problem is that Russians like Putin and we gotta address that. And I'm like, wait a second. So a Kiev-born Jewish person is mad that Russians like Putin? Why is that your business? Excuse my language, why is your ass burning that Russians like their president? Who are you?
Well, that would be one of my first questions too, especially since you're speaking before a body that is part of a purported republic.
Exactly.
Where the people rule, and our whole foreign policy is based on the idea we're bringing so-called democracy to the rest of the world. People should get what they want because they're the owners of the country. And so if your complaint is that the people are getting what they want, but you don't want them to get what they want, so you have to change their opinion of what they want, then you are an enemy of democracy, aren't you? Or am I missing something?
You're not missing anything. But these are how interesting these names were, Tucker. And if you think that Peter Pomerantsev was the only one with honors in the wars, let me remind you about Jessica Arrow.
Let me just ask, Peter Pomerantsev, the award-winning journalist from Ukraine.
Or honored journalists. They like to call
award-winning,
it,
honored.
Yeah.
Okay, so impressed. Writes for The Atlantic.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldberg.
Yes.
Where does he work?
So he writes for biggest publications. Like I said,
But how was he connected to this effort, to that?
Oh, he was on an advisory board for them. Oh. So he's on here says advisory board, and he's mentioned as an advisor to entire network. He's on an advisory board with like British former military guys and stuff.
Wow.
Yes.
And how much do we know about where the money comes?
Oh, we know everything. We when the hack happened, we knew exactly who was paying for the integrity initiative. And I should say, please check out Max Blumenthal's work on the money part of things, because he went all the way. Like so it came from a British Foreign Office.
Amazing.
Yes. It's all documented. Like I said,
Does it still exist?
No, after the hack, they kind of scrambled and they reshaped their operations, which I will talk about.
After the truth came out.
Yeah, after the truth came out, exactly. So, but another important thing is, and this directly ties to Trump administration and why I supported Trump. So this woman, Jessica Aro, like Peter Pomerantsev, she's on the board, okay? Like some Finnish girl that no one in Finland can detect all these journalists. But please remember, they're fighting Russian disinformation, okay? They're not attacking anyone. They're fighting Russian disinformation. So this Jessica Aro was scheduled to come to Washington and get awarded. Did you know that?
No, I had no idea. I'm never invited to these award ceremonies.
It's good for you. That's why I'm sitting here and not somewhere else. So she was scheduled to come and get awarded. And then Trump administration came, Trump won, and they said, someone, I don't know who it was, I can't claim something I don't know. So someone looked at her past, right, and who she is, and they said, yeah, not today, you're not getting awarded. So all hell broke loose about this. There are like domestic publications writing, how dare you not award Jessica Aro, and what happened? We demand answers. Like, it's online. Go check. Like, all of it is online. How these, crazy media agents lost their mind over this. And I believe the Trump administration said, well, something happened. She was never in the list to get awarded. But then CNN was the one who broke the story that there were communications getting Jessica Aro ready for travel. I believe it was CNN, but don't quote me on that. One of the big channels broke the story, and they demanded answers. How do we dare not award Jessica Aro from Finland? I swear it's all true. So I was like, why is such a big deal? Like, why is it such a big deal for these journalists to get awarded and get medals and all that? And in my opinion, and now this is just my opinion here, okay? It's not for Americans, Tucker. The awards are for Finnish people, so that she can go back home and propagandize people by saying, I'm an awarded journalist from the United States. You should trust what I say. And when I tell you that poor journalist there on a salary or whatever is a Russian agent, you must believe it. The awards is there for the opposite of killing someone's images, what? Amplifying them, giving them more power. That's why they do it. No one cares.
When I tell you that Jeremy Corbyn is an anti-Semite, you have to believe me.
Exactly.
Imagine the sensation, if you will, of going to sleep feeling like you're floating, then waking up rested with no soreness from a hard or stiff mattress. That is the daily experience of people who use Brooklyn bedding. We can probably guess what you're thinking. A mattress like that is super expensive. Only Bill Gates uses a mattress like that. It's probably made in Bangladesh anyway. Oh, wrong on all counts. Brooklyn Bedding is an American company with a seriously impressive 650,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Arizona. The company was started by a guy called John, and he built it from the ground up right here in the US with no college degree, by the way. Brooklyn makes mattresses for every sleep style and body type, plus uses temperature regulation to make sure you stay cool throughout the night. They offer a 120-night sleep trial, many nights, so you can return your mattress if you don't love it. Don't expect that to happen, though, because Brooklyn Bedding has been awarded the best mattress by CNET and the best hybrid mattress by Wirecutter. People love it.
Check for yourself. BrooklynBetting.com. Use the promo code Tucker at checkout for 30% off site-wide. Everything on the site, 30% off. That's BrooklynBetting.com, promo code Tucker, 30% off site-wide all summer. They hated Jeremy Corbyn not because he's an anti-Semite.
No,
he was not an anti-Semite.
Of course
he
not.
wasn't even that opposed to Israel. He's a nationalist, basically. Too much for them anyway.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But this gets better. And he thought you couldn't get better, right? But it does. You have no idea. So after this network gets disrupted, again, I urge everyone to go and see themselves. The information is all out there. I brought all of it here. So after this network gets disrupted, they're like, what do we do now? So right after 1 year, 2019, NATO designs an operation. They call it Social Media Experiment. Okay?
And let's pause. What is NATO? North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Yes.
So it's a military alliance, Europe. It started Western Europe, opposing the Warsaw Pact, the Soviets, the Iron Curtain.
Which doesn't exist anymore.
Well, I'm aware. So not since 1991, so 35 years. What is NATO now exactly?
It has become everything but a military organization. And I'm about to tell you one thing that it does that it shouldn't do. So NATO has something called Stratcom. It's a strategic communication center of excellence or something, where they employ different people, including journalists. Okay? So NATO Stratcom.
They're journalists who work for NATO?
Yeah. Well, Ben Nemo is one of them.
Okay, if you're working for NATO, you're not a journalist, okay? So just to be clear.
I agree.
You forfeit the title.
100%.
No matter how many awards you've won.
Couldn't agree more.
Sorry.
No, it's
shocking.
Absolutely. I know. I had the same reactions. When I was investigating this, I had to take pauses, Tucker. I had to look at the wall for a second. I'm like, what am I doing here? What are we living in a Truman Show? Because we are. We are.
I know.
Yeah. So NATO designs this program and it calls it Social Media Experiment. Okay. What do? Well, they want to fight Russian disinformation. I'm going to say this a lot because they are saying this a lot, right? They want to fight Russia and Russian disinformation. And they said, well, we want to see if social media platforms can be manipulated. So the narrative can be manipulated without detection. Their words, all in here, not mine. They wanted to check if they can manipulate social media and not be detected.
Damn.
You would think, Tucker, that some sane person would have just raised their hands and say, we are a military organization. We shouldn't be doing that.
Fair.
None of them did.
So did they attempt to do that?
They ran. The operation happened. Yeah. So here's what they did. Let me just look so I don't give you wrong numbers, okay? They bought thousands of, I think it was 500,000 or something, trolls, bots that you called, like when we started this show. They bought fake comments and fake engagement. So they bought fake comments, fake engagement, ton of bots, and they ran the operation. And I want you to remember when it happened in 2019, okay? This is 2019 when NATO starts this operation. So they contract a company called SingularX. Do you know where this company is located?
No.
Kharkiv, Ukraine.
Actually?
Actually.
What year is this? 19?
2019.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is located in Kharkiv, Ukraine. It's a Ukrainian company they contracted. But if you're wondering, like, well, that was maybe just one contract, so what that Ukraine is, at war with Russia, they can still be objective, right? They can still be objective fighting Russian disinformation, even though they are contracting Ukrainian company for it. But whatever, it was not just one contract. NATO constantly works with SingularX, a Ukrainian company. So this is where we dive into why people are bothered, this, with these trolls and these trolls coming after independent journalists and so on. So after this whole thing happened, independent journalists kind of notice that they're getting attacked a lot, especially when they come after and talk, about Russia, Ukraine, their engagements go zero, or they are called all kinds of stuff like Russian whores or worse. I'm not going to say these terrible things, but it happened, right? So no one really bothered to dive in. What company is behind this and who's doing this stuff? No one even knew that NATO is running this operation in 2019. By the way, they were absolutely successful. Absolutely successful. So they didn't have a reason to stop the operation. Okay. And then there happened something very interesting. And I have to tie in my personal thing here so I can explain how I got on this trail. I'm someone like you that when I see Russia, Ukraine, I understand the issue just like you do. And because I come from Georgia and I watched Russia all my life. So I speak about what I believe is true. They came after me, of course, calling me a Russian agent, similar. And then I started diving into Charlie Kirk's assassination and things got way worse after Candace's interview and stuff. It just went off rails with these attacks and stuff to the point where it was already like real threats. Like with my brothers and like real threats on family, myself, everything. So at that point, I'm like, okay, this is real. This is something that you need to report to the authorities. And I wanted to look into who's behind this, who's threatening me. I discovered this network, but then I discovered also paid ops, right? Like paid operatives that are getting paid by Israel and, using NATO bots. So paid operatives from Israel, which with Brett Pascal,
yes,
are somehow protected with NATO bots from Ukraine. And if you doubt they are real NATO bots from Ukraine, let me read you something, okay? This is very important because they themselves say they are. They send me threats like Zelensky sends love. So I don't know why would an American bot send me that.
No.
So I have a screenshot here with that.
What's the connection between Israel and Ukraine? Or maybe better question, what's the difference?
So the connection is, what I've noticed is that Ukrainian trolls come to the rescue of Israeli paid propagandists. So the guy, for example, that came after you, that Times wrote about, they would defend that guy in the comments. So Israeli propagandists are pushing propaganda, and then Ukrainian NATO bots are protecting the propaganda. That's the connection. I don't know why they do that. My guess isn't now off of the facts and actual guess and what I think is going on. Ukraine and Israel is owned by the same people, and those are raging Zionists. Okay.
Yep.
So and then most important part here, we have not even gotten to the most important part of the story. One of the people that came after me, and this is more of a paid propagandist side versus the bots, was former Green Beret. Like this Gary guy. I'm not even going to say his name because they're looking for real engagement and real people and real fame. So let's call him Gary. He comes after me and he just makes these ridiculous claims, calls me a Russian agent, accuses me of crime, does like YouTube channels, like episode after episode of calling me, making fun of my accent. I mean, you name it. Like this is a nasty little, So I'm like, what's going on here? It's a former Green Beret. Like, what's going on here? And then I get an interesting phone call. And it is someone who knows Gary and says, Elizabeth, I've been watching what's going on and these attacks on you, especially after I dived into this investigation and Charlie Kirk and this stuff. And I think you need to talk to my friend right now. And I'm like, okay. He's a former Green Beret, also Special Forces, and you need to talk to him ASAP. I'm like, okay. So I call. This guy picks up. He's like, oh, I know Gary really well. I'm like, what's going on? Let me tell you something, Elizabeth. He says, so Gary and I used to do videos together. And Gary himself didn't believe in Charlie Kirk's assassination narrative. So I was like, okay. But now he's attacking everyone, especially Candace. I mean, Candace is like, Gary wakes up for it and goes to sleep to attack Candace, right? And everyone else along, including you. If you get in the way, they will come after you too. As soon as you're quiet about Charlie, he's going to be okay. So And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And he says, well, do you know that when Charlie died, Gary got paid by the DOD? I'm like, okay, so, and that's when he changed his narrative, he said. But that's not all, though. So apparently Gary gets paid by DOD a very generous amount of money. Gary changes the narrative, and now Tyler Robinson is the killer and everything is fine. Okay?
What can you do to monitor important parts of your life that you can't always keep your eyes on? Things like the far corners of a job site or ranch, or let's say you've got a boat dock somewhere and you can't check on it every day. Cellular security cameras from Defend are the answer. These cameras are very easy to install. No Wi-Fi required, no complex setup process. You don't need to be a master electrician to do it, no running wires all over the place. You just mount the camera, turn it on, and it automatically connects to the strongest available cellular signal and starts sending photos and videos directly to your phone. You can be across the country. You never have to wonder what is happening where you live. You've got total security all the time. It's a gate entrance, a construction site, it's your barn, cabin, anything else you need to keep your eye on when you're gone, this will do it for you. And unlike a lot of security systems, this is affordable. Peace of mind for an honest price. DefendCellCam.com is the address. Go there, see for yourself. DefendCellCam.com. If you've got a signal, you've got 24-hour security.
Wait, so you're saying you believe the American Department of Defense, or now it's been renamed Department of War. I assume that will revert to defense once this nightmare's over. But once we lose yet another war, you think they're paying Americans to spread propaganda in the United States, specifically about the Charlie Kirk case?
So I know that Ukraine is paying them, and I'll tell you how. But with Gary's case, we have these documents.
Ukraine is paying them to do what?
We will get to it. Trust me, just trust the process. I'll get to it as soon. Like
I will. I trust the process.
Yeah. So he says Gary got paid by DOD. So that doesn't surprise me because, okay, former Green Beret, maybe some contract, maybe something, right? So I'm like, okay, but you got to give me something better than that. And he's like, oh, we'll give you better. It's not just me who's a former Green Beret. Like, we have 5 other guys that want to talk to you. I'm like, okay. So he says that when Gary got paid, Gary stopped making videos with him and started attacking him. So 2 Green Berets are making videos, okay? 2 Green Berets, Gary and this other one that called me on the phone and said, we both were sure that something was wrong with the main narrative with Charlie Kirk. All of a sudden, he says, I keep going with my videos, how this is unacceptable, wrong, and Gary starts coming after me, attacking me. Without even a phone call or anything, just attacking me viciously. So he's a man's man. He's a honorable military guy, unlike others. And he calls him and he says, are you okay, dude? What are you doing? And immediately Gary goes like, I'm so sorry. I have huge respect for you. I will not do this again. I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry.
They're all that way.
Right?
This has happened to me. You confront them. Weak men are like that. They'll never be straightforward with you because they're too weak. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Then they're out attacking you again.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, I know the species.
As soon as he got off the phone, like only a few days after, he goes ahead and sees Gary attack him again and again. So then he started investigating with his buddies, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, all of that, and they found something. And this is where I got on a group call. So they said, Elizabeth, we have a huge story for you, and someone needs to put this out. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. He says, when Russia-Ukraine war started, we Special Forces guys got some interesting calls. I'm like, okay. Ukrainian company called us, they said. And they offered us money. I was like, for what? They said, we were supposed to go on YouTube and glorify Ukraine, Zelensky, their military, all this, trash Russia, and we would be compensated for it. Yes. So immediately, my reaction was, please tell me you remember the company. And please tell me you have some proof. And he was like, yes, I remember the company. We all do. And we have the proof. So I'm like, great. Here's the offer, Tucker. These are former Special Forces guys. Some don't even have YouTube, some do. And the deal was the biggest YouTubers, that they wanted, right, to spread Ukrainian propaganda. They would get paid some around $10,000 a video, okay, 10,000. And above that, they would get $40,000 in advertisement money. So they would be set with good advertising. That is already $50,000 if they did just one video a week, right? But they said you can do as many as you want. If you want 50 videos, you can do 50 videos. We'll pay for whatever. So great deal. I mean, just do your numbers, multiply them, right? 40,000 in ad money. And then they said something very interesting. Perks were they would get to meet the biggest politicians in America, like Secretary of State, for example. And they would take flights with them and they would take car rides and so on. And that happened too. By the way, I want to say Secretary of State, this particular offer was not the Secretary of State. We are talking about Lloyd Austin.
Wow.
Like before, yes.
Yeah.
So as you understand, not only they have people at the DOD, and like not just DOD, but in general in the American government. And they were so secure making this offer that obviously our government is involved. Like not again, Trump administration, I'm talking about previously, but the closest offer was only 2 years ago. Okay? So the reason these people got on the phone call with me is because they declined the offer.
Did they know where the money was coming from?
Yes. It was a company called United 24.
United 24.
Yes. Ukrainian company set up by Ukrainian government. Yes. So here's an interesting thing with United 24. You know who provides money for United 24?
Who?
We do.
The U.S. government.
Well, U.S. everybody. So if I wanted to donate to them, they have a website that I go to donate. They got a ton of money from Hollywood. And actors and actresses also. So they have our money going to them and they are propagandizing us with our own money.
That's part of the humiliation ritual. Yeah.
It's crazy. But it gets crazier. So, how do you understand this story was never told by anybody?
No.
Like, I can't believe I'm sitting here with you and telling this the first time when we have much bigger, much more powerful and skillful journalists out there who should have done this story.
No, they're part of it too.
So the boys told me they are absolutely mad and angry at Ukrainian company, this particular one, and Ukrainians. And they said, we are fed up with them. Go destroy them. So I'm like, okay, there's something hidden, not just money offer, like what's going on? One of them said, well, when I said no, and I said, go F yourselves. Excuse my language. They went after his work. So they called the boss of this person. You know how like when special ops guys get out, they do like contracting work and all kinds of. So he was doing one of those. And they called his boss, and says, this guy is a Russian agent. He works for Russians. You need to drop him.
What?
Yes.
Did it work?
No, of course not. So the boss called him up and says, I'm getting a ton of calls about you being a Russian agent. What's going on? And he says, I'll deal with them. Don't worry about them. He's not the only singular case. They did it to every single one of them.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm not surprised that I'm a Russian agent, that everyone else is a Russian agent, and you are a Qatari agent. And I'm not surprised anymore, because if they have the audacity to do this to a former special ops guy or a former Navy, that means they know they are protected.
So is the world getting more stable or less stable? That's a rhetorical question. We're not in charge of the world, unfortunately, but you are in charge of, in fact, responsible for your own family and your savings. So the dollar has lost nearly a third of its purchasing power since 2020. That's crazy. The dollar has lost nearly a third of its purchasing power in 6 years. You know what hasn't? Gold. Gold has been a trusted store of value for thousands of years, and that's one reason you should think about gold right now. It's about 25% below its high from earlier this year, which is amazing. Some of the world's biggest financial institutions are making the move because gold, relative to its power and endurance as a medium of exchange, is pretty cheap right now. Central banks are reducing their reliance on treasuries and increasing their holdings of, yes, gold. They're not alone. Individual investors are doing the same. Ray Dalio, founder of the world's largest hedge fund and a friend of ours, recommends holding up to 15% of your portfolio in gold. We've long believed in gold. We've been vindicated. We started Battalion Metals to give Americans an honest, fair-priced way to buy metals, gold and silver, because a lot of these companies are scams. Ours is not. You know, we have like 3 points over spot, and we'll ship it to your house. BattalionMetals.com/Tucker is the place to go to learn more about buying metals, gold and silver, precious metals, IRAs, secure storage, all of it. BattalionMetals.com/Tucker.
Of course. And it also means that they accuse you, all people are like this, of what they're doing themselves. So the relentless focus on where independent journalists are getting their money and they're taking payment from this or that person. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I don't take payment from anybody. Never have. Like, I'm not that interested. I'm not about the money. You don't have to believe me, but you see how I live. You can tell it's true. And that's always coming from people who care only about the money. The Ben Shapiro's of the world, it's only about the money.
So true.
So I just find it interesting. Like, why not criticize people for their obvious flaws? I have many obvious flaws. They never go after me on that. It's always the money. It's like, that's the one sin I'm not prone to. It's like, you pick the one thing I don't do wrong. It's like hilarious.
Well, they're projecting, Tucker.
They're projecting, of course.
And they are great at it too. And this is like the second part of this story now. Now, I want you to imagine. So NATO runs this 2019 experiment.
Yes.
They are successful. They themselves stated they were successful. So that means that you can operate on social media undetected, right? That was the whole point, right?
Right.
So, and they do.
Well, I've never heard of it till right now. So
right. So
it was successful.
Yeah, it was successful. And they do. And when you look at these accounts that are attacking people, most of them are set up in 2019, the same year that NATO ran this experiment.
Man.
So while people think it's all Israel,
Yeah.
it's actually not just Israel. It's a bigger monster behind this all.
Yes.
And that's NATO. And NATO is what? Explain to me what exactly NATO is. So like, it's interest of multiple different countries. Okay, not just us. NATO is an entity that we should be staying away from. Like, keep them at arm's length.
We should have been out of NATO 35 years ago.
I agree. And here they are running social media experiments, attacking American journalists. And they feel so secure that they know nothing will happen to them. They made fun of me. I said, I'm going to report you to the FBI. And they literally laughed at it. How did that FBI go with you? Like, how did it turn out? By the way, I did that. So when the attacks amplified and it became absolutely like unbearable, where I need to do my job, I called up a friend of mine and I said, you worked with the FBI before. I need an active agent, someone you trust, and I need a guy with balls, because what's going to happen is when he escalates this case, someone is going to shut him up, because no way this case goes like, no way. So he said, I've got the guy. So this guy reaches out to me, and I had my former detective, NYPD detective, talk to him, because they warned me, don't talk to the FBI. They will do what they did to Flynn. So don't do that. So I got a professional, former detective, talk to them. And he said, well, yeah, this is a serious matter. We have some foreign sources, some Ukrainian, Georgian, and NATO trolls attacking American journalists. And we have somebody from the inside that doesn't care. And this is keep going on. Like, the FBI needs to get on these case and figure out who are the journalists here, who are the people here allowing this to happen.
Yes.
Right? Because there are people. This person that offered all these benefits and money to American soldiers was living in San Francisco, not in Ukraine. Okay? By the way, I forgot, we have proof. We have a Zoom call with them.
A Zoom call, what does it show?
Everything. The Zoom call shows how they offer the person, these military people, $10K, $40K for additional whatever advertisements. And it shows how they say you will have all these benefits.
And that money comes from NATO?
No, that money comes from United 24. That we donate. The money for the trolls that like these 2019 experiments that was ran with Ukrainian company comes from NATO. Does it make sense?
It does.
So it's multiple different fronts.
But elements of it don't make sense. So here's
Yes.
the story Americans were presented 5 years ago when the Russia-Ukraine thing started to move toward war. Here you have this independent, noble little country called Ukraine, and they're threatened by these expansionists to their east, this communist country called Russia with this bloodthirsty dictator, Vladimir Putin, running it. And so we're on the side of the underdog, the little guy.
Right.
And this is an outgrowth of that story. But what doesn't make sense is why would they get involved in the Charlie Kirk story? What does that have to do with anything?
Thank you for asking that.
Why would the Ukrainians have an opinion on that?
I don't.
I've stayed out of it, and I knew him well. But the Ukrainians, I mean, maybe they've heard of Charlie Kirk, but why are they weighing in on it? I'm legit confused.
Yeah. So 90% of Ukrainians, I can say this with all certainty, don't even know who Charlie Kirk is.
Of course.
And if they've heard of him, they never even listened to one debate or interview. They don't care.
It was in English, by the way.
English, yes. They
Not
don't
their
care.
language. Right.
Yeah, they don't care. So I don't understand why would Ukrainian trolls, and they are Ukrainian and Georgians, who are threatening me personally. I can talk about my case. I don't have to talk about yours or other cases and speculate, right? So they are sending me Zelensky's love openly, by the way, and calling me all kinds of names in Russian and Ukrainian, the same close language. All of this. So I know for a fact that they are Ukrainian and Georgian trolls, not just Ukrainian, by the way. What I don't know is what they are covering for Israel when Israeli propagandists go out there attacking people. And what I don't know is why they are attacking people who question Charlie Kirk's assassination. So the only conclusion...
But you know for a fact they are.
For a fact that they are.
Well, that's just like one of the weirdest things I've heard in a long time. Of course, if we're being totally honest, it's not weird at all. I would expect it because I can feel that there's a connection, but I couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
It doesn't shock me that, the ties between Ukraine and Israel are subtle. I think both governments have gone out of their way to downplay their connection. Pretty clear they're very closely connected. And Charlie Kirk, I could never explain why that doesn't shock me, but if I'm being honest, it really doesn't. This is much bigger than Charlie Kirk's murder,
100%.
than Russia's special military operation, invasion of Ukraine, whatever, war in Iran. It's all of a piece. It's the same people.
Same people. The same narrative, same accusations, Tucker. Can we get real for a second?
Of course.
So I used to think that Trump betrayed us badly. I used to think that all of us were MAGA. We were I was the biggest supporter. I got in trouble laying on Biden in country of Georgia, getting on a show. They came up to me. They sent people at my door, literally. So I was one of the biggest Trump fighters. Okay, so I know exactly what MAGA was supposed to be and stood for, right? All of us knew. Then this whole thing happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he betrayed us. But now after investigating this, I don't think so. So I think the goal was these globalists, these NATO people and British intel that's running this integrity initiative secretly, and Jessica Arrows in Finland. Just think about this for a second. We're talking about British intelligence, British funded operation that extends in almost every country. But then when you look into it, all of a sudden you discover actually it's not really Britain, because they are also getting funds from Atlantic Council. They're also getting funds from NATO. So it's almost like a world organization. And they are running their operation everywhere. Again, their own chart says what countries they run to, this operation. And it's everywhere. Okay? So this cabal looks at Trump and everyone aligned with Trump, which is you, Candace, and Charlie, and all these people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, and they get scared. They're like, okay, if these people are allowed to do what they're coming to do, 60 plus years of work is done. So what I think happened here is they said, we have to do what we do the best, divide and conquer. We got to isolate Trump. One by one, we're going to destroy these MAGA people and put our operatives in. This is what I would do. if I was the bad guy, because there's a force coming at me that will destroy my life's work. You are anti-NATO, not anti-NATO, but you are for, this is not an organization.
Passionately anti-NATO. Passionately.
Thank you, me too.
It's a threat to the sovereignty of my country that I was born in. Like NATO hurts the United States and a lot of other people.
Yes, I agree.
Killing Gaddafi. Like what? What does that have to do with keeping the Soviets out of Germany?
Nothing.
Like this whole thing is so bonkers.
Yeah.
No, I'm passionately opposed to NATO because I'm pro-American.
Yeah. And so was Charlie. And so was
any normal person. Like what's, what I could.
Well, think about it. Think about this, Tucker. So they see this,
some globalist army? What? Why would I ever support something like that? Oh, shut up. How about no?
Yeah. How about no?
Yeah. Anyway,
but no, you're right. And they knew that, okay, they assessed the situation, right? And I often thought about, why are you alive? No offense. Or why is Candace alive, even though they want to kill her? So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing.
We've had some close calls.
That's true. They almost got you in Ukraine, right? Yeah. But they look at the force that's coming, though, Tucker. This is very important. And they see it and they're like, if Trump is allowed to come in with these people, like the MAGA people, they're going to leave NATO. We're screwed. Without the United States, what is NATO? Absolutely fucking nothing, right? Like nothing. So they're going to leave NATO. They will stop Ukrainian war in Russia. They're going to talk to Putin. And with all these people next to Trump will make the right decision. We will never get Iran. That will never happen. So that was the plan. You know this. For the longest time, Israel wanted to get into Iran war. Like they wanted us in the Iran war. Even they themselves say that. So it's not a conspiracy theory that Elizabeth Lane is disputing.
Opposite.
Yeah.
Just the opposite. They've been talking about it openly in my presence for 30 years. So
Yeah. So what happened though, Tucker? You do the math. What happened? They ousted Marjorie Taylor Greene. They ousted Thomas Massie. I wish we had a video of someone saying, oh yeah, it was me sending bad shit about Tucker to President Trump. Oh, that's right. That was Lara Loomer. Right. So what they did is they absolutely poisoned this man against everyone that was dangerous.
Of course. And who actually supported his program.
Exactly. Yeah. So as you know, with all these tools that you just looked at, all of these tools, how hard it is to put someone in a Truman Show. One person. Once you isolate him from all the friends and allies that he has.
Of course.
I always say this.
You sneak in an assistant who only feeds him pre-masticated lies.
Exactly.
And you control his brain. They 100%. May have done that.
100%. And the information war is the most important war. So one more thing I want to say, you can be the best, most honest president in the world. You can be the best soldier in the world. And if someone puts a wrong intel in front of you and wrong information, you will go nowhere. Do you agree with that?
I agree, but I mean, I talked to Trump about it so much, and I know that he knew exactly what was going to happen, and he did it anyway. And so I just don't buy that explanation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're saying that he knew exactly what was going to happen?
He knew what the risks were. I think he convinced himself that as soon as he killed the Ayatollah, the country would collapse and we'd get some pro-Western leader or king or something.
Yeah.
But no. He was very, very aware of what the risks were. I talked to him about it, so I know that. So I think the mechanism of control, was probably a little more direct than what you're describing. But in general, I think you're absolutely right. He lives in a biosphere where no new information comes in, and like you can only see, Mark Levin or.
Well, it's not even
Marco
just
Rubio
exactly.
or something.
Exactly. By the way, they love Marco Rubio. These guys, they hate JD Vance, and I brought that too. So they are afraid of JD Vance for some reason. Why
do you know that? How do you know that?
That, like I said, I've been watching them, Tucker, for when I did this investigation, I took down, if someone wants it, by the way, I took down every account, who's related to who reshares who, why, what kind of text. So they have this wave of campaigns, right? And this is something I want to also mention. So I threatened Gary with a lawsuit. And as soon as they heard that I was going to sue, by the way, I'm not going to sue. My priest said, we're Christians and we're not going to fight demons. That's God's work. So like you need to do what's your work, and they can distract you with all of this and they shouldn't. So you do what is assigned to you. Let God take care of these demons, right?
Amazing and wonderful advice. That's the best advice.
Yeah. So he was like, come to me in this monastery, and by the time you leave, you'll know the answer. And he was right. I know the answer. But when I did that, when I threatened to sue, swarm of Ukrainian trolls came after me saying like, you will be famous for the reasons you don't want to. From kill you to will destroy you to all of it. Like everything was there, every threat you can imagine, okay? But then someone else showed up on the radar, which is also very important. His name is Ryan Mauro. I didn't see the connection. And you asked for what is this Ukrainian and Zionist connection, like the Israeli connection. Well, you know that Ryan is a raging Zionist. He was like super Israeli, pro-Israeli supporter. And he also was a very big supporter of Lindsey Graham. Ryan gets into my...
How could you support Israel when they're committing genocide? It's like being pro-Nazi. Like what? How could you have someone even say that out loud? And how could you be pro-Lindsey Graham? I mean... Maybe you like the guy. I always liked him as a person. He's a nice guy, funny guy. But
I never liked him.
Just as a, he's like, I had dinner with Lindsey Graham many times and always enjoyed myself. But like, he was a death worshiper. How could you be for that? I don't understand.
Exactly. Well, you know the ties that he had with Ukraine, right? Like Ukraine and, Lindsey Graham was the biggest supporter for Ukraine at the same time. He was a supporter of Israel. So something with this Ukraine and Israel is very connected. And again, they are under the same people. But Ryan Mauro was a great example for it. But here is how this is such a big web, Tucker, and someone needs to untangle it. And I don't know why people are not trying. So Ryan Mauro gets into my personal messages.
And who is he? Can you just, for those who don't know who he is, Ryan Mauro.
Mauro, yeah.
He runs a think tank?
Well, he has a nonprofit that is tied to this bigger nonprofit. So it's like 8 million a year or something. And this is how they maneuver around like these operatives, right? So they are tied to Atlantic Council. They are tied to NATO. They have their own nonprofit. So they get paid through the nonprofits and donations that no one can track. So Ryan Mauro is one of the operatives that has Mauro Institute that is tied to this bigger nonprofit. God knows how he gets paid, but
he named it after himself, the Mauro Institute?
Yeah, Mauro Institute.
That's hilarious.
So, but here's something that I want you to pay attention. So this is Ryan tagging a Georgian troll here, saying that he worked with this particular account to dive into me and find out some information, okay? So, here's an interesting story that will tie everything in for you in a second.
Interesting.
So Ryan takes these accounts that he worked with these people. And I'm like, okay, great. Ryan is also the one protecting Green Beret Gary that is attacking Candace and me over Charlie Kirk. But Ryan has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Like Ryan is a separate actor against Russia.
He's a foreign policy guy, yeah.
Exactly. Well, should be for a foreign policy guy. So he's protecting Gary, telling me not to sue Gary. And he's like, Elizabeth, this is not going to end well for you. Like, we're not afraid of you. So after that, this was against, so because I was going after their little propagandist Gary, right? Like I'm going after Gary and Jen, like the producer who mysteriously appeared with Gary after Charlie died. By the way, this guy has a tiny YouTube channel that he's monetizing or whatever and has a producer, which is weird because all the other guys that got the same offer from Ukraine said, Elizabeth, we don't have producers and we're like 3 times bigger than Gary. So how does this guy all of a sudden gets a producer after Charlie dies? He changed the narrative, gets paid by DOD. And it just like the proof lines up. Like you just tell me what you need. I'll give you about this guy, right? Like the money's there. All of a sudden gets a weird producer. We look into this producer and her friends are hugging Syrskyi in Ukraine. Yes, it's all on her freaking LinkedIn. We didn't even need to dig hard. So he reshares family, Zelensky's family. She reshares Zelensky's family with hearts, loves, all of that. And her friends that are hugging Syrskyi in Ukraine. All of a sudden, this woman ends up as a Gary's producer without producing experience. Okay? Just ends up as a Gary's producer. Gary changes the story. All of a sudden, Tyler Robinson should be put on a death row because he killed Charlie Kirk. Whatever. Goes after Candace, me, and everyone that ever challenged the narrative. These Green Berets reach out to me, tell me what's going on, right? This story that we just ended with. Then Ryan Mauro, out of nowhere, comes and starts to persuade me why I shouldn't sue Gary. And if I do, it will end bad for me. I'm gonna be the loser in that. And then I started diving into Ryan Mauro and what the connection is. He's such an idiot, Tucker, that he writes me that Gary shows personal messages to him. Again, please understand these people should not be related in any shape and form. Do you show your personal messages to random people?
Not one person ever.
Right.
Because they're personal.
Yeah. So I have this documented, him writing me that Gary shows personal messages to Ryan Mauro. I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on here? So then I do this investigation and I put out some of it online and Ryan loses it. Like this investigation into Ukrainian trolls, NATO, all this. He just loses it. What's your beef with this? Right? So then he starts, his trolls attack me, and these trolls that he tagged, I go after them to figure out who they are, and I do. And I find one of them, a Georgian troll, this one. You don't need to read the name, but just so you know. And here's what I have to show you about that. So I find that guy, okay?
Former intern at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Georgia.
Yes.
Graduate of Caucus University in International Relations. Okay.
So, but here's the best part, Tucker. So they put out my high school ID from Georgia, like for everyone to see. I don't know why they thought like that would intimidate me. Like, I don't care. Like, you can put out whatever you want. But I knew that Georgian was involved because no one can get the hands on that particular document without knowing like Georgian systems or so on. So I pushed them on something that's very sensitive. They will do anything for people not to find out that military intelligence is behind this. They will do anything. So I publicly started stating, I know you work with intelligence. I know you work with intelligence. And they got so pressured by it that this troll that Ryan tagged to be working with put out how he found my ID. What is wrong with this screenshot? Can you tell me what's wrong with this screenshot? Can you read it?
I don't know.
You can't read it, right?
No, it's not in our alphabet, Elizabeth.
Thank you. So it's in Georgian, Tucker. Remember, they're supposed to
Which looks a lot like Sanskrit, by the way. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that because I grew up with it, so it doesn't look weird to me. But so this moron puts out how the entire process, by the way, screenshot by screenshot. Apparently, an American. This guy is supposed to be American. He says he's a proud American on his profile, okay? So this so-called American not only reads Georgian and writes, but he can absolutely go through a very complex website in Georgian. How many Americans do you know that can do that?
I mean, I felt like I know a lot more about Georgia than your average American, and I don't think I'd ever seen the alphabet before. Right. And no.
It gets better. So I confront him directly. I find him, I call Georgian journalists, and I'm like, I want everything on this guy. And I know, because I grew up in Georgia and I was born there, I know a lot of journalists in Georgia. So I call them up and I say, I want every single detail on this guy because he's a part of my investigation. And I just realized that there are NATO trolls that contract Ukrainian company, which is, again, all documented, and seems like they also work with Georgian trolls. And I need to know everything. So they gave me everything. And I directly confronted the guy, wrote him. I said, I know what you're doing, and I will get to Georgia and deal with you myself. Guess what happens? Ryan Mauro panics and tags a Ukrainian mercenary on a post telling me, what did you say would happen to Georgians? ? So meaning he's Georgian trolls. And he tags an Ukrainian mercenary accused of war crimes.
How does Ryan Mauro know a Ukrainian mercenary accused of war crimes? Does he live in like Arlington or something? This is bizarre.
This is what's happening, Tucker. I have all the evidence for it. And he tags it. And I immediately, when he did that, I retagged his post and tagged J.D. Vance on it. And I said, Vice President, an active attack on a journalist, American journalist, using Ukrainian mercenary and Georgian trolls by another American from Florida. He panicked when I tagged the vice president on it. He panicked because they don't like him. They hate JD for some reason. So he panics and he writes me something like this.
They hate JD, you're certain
They
of that.
hate JD. They hate JD Vance because I will give you like a post that I print of the same people trashing him. They called him rotten brain, diarrhea, something. I mean, horrible stuff. So here, just so that you know I'm talking the truth. This is what he wrote and tagged that guy on, the Ukrainian mercenary, okay? So as you can see, that's exactly, the Georgian is mentioned right there, Georgia. So as soon as I tagged J.D. Vance on it, he panics and he recorrects himself and says, well, I didn't want to threaten you. I only did it because you threatened the Georgians. I was like, Ryan, 10 minutes ago, there were no Georgian trolls. Are you admitting you work with them?
So Mauro is part of this much larger network.
Yeah, he's
course.
a tiny piece, but yes.
He's a tiny piece. Yeah, I just happen to know who he is. But most people I've never heard of. And they hate J.D. Vance,
yes,
you said. They're afraid of J.D. Vance. And you see that as a coordinated message across all these different networks.
Yes.
Any idea why? Because he's not a globalist, that's why.
That's why.
Yeah. That is the thread. It's not about Israel or the Ukraine war or Charlie Kirk's murder individually. It's a whole worldview. And if you're against control of the world by oligarchs who hate Christianity, then you're not on the team and you must be destroyed.
Exactly. And they always, they have these operatives that like fake Christians. They will always like come at you with, like they will come at you with Bible verses and stuff like that. And at the same time, they operate trolls that put up my fellow journalist's dead brother and said, your brother is in hell online. The same people who come at you with Bible verses.
They celebrate Zelensky and Smotrich. I mean, Zelensky put priests and nuns in jail and raided churches and closed monasteries and banned the country's largest Christian denomination. It's a fact that just happened. I mean, it's happening now. How could Christians support that? How could Christians support the Israeli government, which is murdering Christians in Lebanon, the only Middle Eastern country with a Christian president? Like it's so not what I would have expected at all.
They also bombed, a Jewish synagogue.
Right.
So, I mean, this is why I don't believe that they believe any of this. Like they are not religious in reality. They serve much darker forces and they just want everyone that's a believer or believes in whatever God destroyed.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
And they clearly, just to zoom out for 1 second, I mean, clearly, if you connect all of this stuff, all the wars since 9/11, 9/11 itself, the thread that connects all of it is the destruction of the United States. It's obvious to me that the goal, you couldn't push the president of the United States into a war that we cannot win, that best case scenario eliminates dollar dominance globally and hikes energy prices to a point where people starve to death in Africa and go broke in the United States. Like you couldn't do that if you were supporting the U.S. Like this seems like an effort to wreck the United States. That's what it seems like to me.
100%. It's an effort to take United States out. The United States, yes. Everything that I investigated suggests just that. They want to take the United States out. It used to be a cash cow, and they know that the United States will no longer can sustain to be a cash cow, so they want it out of the game completely. That's exactly where we are.
I wouldn't have believed that 5 years ago, but it's so obvious if you ignore what they say and watch what they do, which is the only way to understand anything. I think you're right. They understood the United States has reached the end of its useful life as a host.
Couldn't agree more. And that's very dangerous for people like us who live here.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Sorry. I just, you've thought of this.
That's what I've been doing for the last 2 months. Like all I do is I believe this network is extremely important. I know people think it's hard to track them down. And I know that people have this idea. I told you, like, people have this idea that they've won. They've infiltrated the United States. They have people in the highest positions. Obviously, when Ukraine says to our military, we'll pay you, and above that, you can get rides and flights with the Secretary of State. Yeah, they do have people in the highest positions. Otherwise, they cannot state things like that.
Right. So the previous administration opens the borders to the world.
Yes.
Keeps the welfare state in place,
Yes.
completely bankrupts the country. Oh, it's not bankrupt enough. How about another war for Israel that you literally cannot win, that just disarms you? We can't continue the Iran war because we have no more defensive, our stock of defensive missiles is so low.
Exactly.
So what are you watching here? You're watching a country being bankrupted, destroyed, totally chaotic domestically because of mass migration. I don't see that any of that could be an accident. These are not dumb people. Like, they know what they're doing, right?
They know exactly what they're doing. And that's why most operatives that I just named to you that are doing this, and again, you looked at it, you read it yourself, you don't know. That's the crazy part. Most people that are working on these levels, you have no idea who they are. And that is the key. But I said this before, if you want to get to the king, start with a drug dealer in the streets and he will lead you to the mafia boss. And that's what I did here. I was like, okay, why is this person attacking like Tucker, Candice, me? What's going on here? Then he led me to another one, then another one. Then all of a sudden, he led me to a real face, a propagandist that's attacking me. His friends are calling me, well, we know what the deal with this guy is. Let us educate you. And all these like layers just all of a sudden got uncovered. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Follow these pieces and they will lead you to the center. Yeah.
It's horrifying.
It is.
And it also means, I should say, because I care, it means the destruction of Europe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like Europe with Russia is a threat to these people.
Yeah.
Because if Europe is thriving with Russian cheap energy, then they don't have the control. You can't control people who have nothing, who have nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
Right? Like, you can't control people who are well off. They are not afraid to lose their jobs. They are not afraid for like any threats. You can't control them. The only way you can control them is to put them in the state of Ukraine. Like Ukraine is today. It's a country without rules, they are operating these trolls, and domestically, people who are allowing it are not afraid. They laugh at the FBI. What, you're going to arrest some Ukrainian troll? Good luck with that.
I love the word Ukrainian, though. I mean, it makes it sound like that your average Ukrainian, like the Ukrainian people it's like the Russian Revolution. We were taught the Russians, overthrew the Tsar, destroyed the monarchy. Like, no Russians involved. And it doesn't seem like there are any Ukrainians involved in this. It seems like outsiders, people who are not in any meaningful way Ukrainian.
Not at all. And
Ukraine itself is being totally destroyed.
Yes. They are dragging people off the streets and putting in the Vance to send them off to the front lines. So usually Ukrainians must die so that globalists can get their states. That's what's going on.
How obvious is that to the rest of the world, do you think?
Not obvious, obviously, not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted your
No. It's
your explanation.
Right.
I just keep thinking, like, what's the point of what could possibly be the point of destroying global energy supplies? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean,
they're clearly doing something, and it's not about the Iranian nuclear program, and it's not about the oblasts in eastern Ukraine. It's definitely not about that.
Well, you remember what the globalist agenda, how well do you know these globalists? Do you know them? Do you know what their agenda is? I spent my life around
these people, but I never took seriously enough, like when you would see these reports from the WEF conference, and you'd be like, this sounds a little nutty. Really, like Klaus Schwab. Have you ever met Klaus Schwab? He's like this elderly kind of semi-senior. He's just a sad person. He's not running anything. And I just thought, oh, it's overstated. People are being paranoid. And now I guess I don't feel that way. It's all becoming real.
It is all becoming real. And I think they took that because we started ignoring this. And look at Klaus Schwab. What an old, like, irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that ignorance of ours, mine too, got us here where they are actually controlling NATO today and are doing this kind of stuff that we've never heard of.
And that American tax dollars are going to foreign propaganda in my country.
Yes.
And the First Amendment is basically gone in real life. You don't have freedom of speech, obviously, in this country. And the Second Amendment, can you really defend yourself? Not that I can tell.
No. And
so our core freedoms are
gone.
Yeah.
Gone. So like I said, I believe that, we are right now wrestling with these people at the edge of the cliff. And it's not that they are ahead of us or, we are ahead of them. No, we are wrestling at the edge of the cliff. And one of us will go over. And what decides that is how fast we wake up to things like this. So what started as a completely innocent, whatever trolls, completely innocent troll doesn't exist, but whatever, targeted harassment online turned out to be a whole full-blown operation. Like a few years ago, many of them, Integrity Initiative, NATO's 2019 deal, and all of a sudden we have Ukrainian company reaching out to our former special forces saying, you have to spread propaganda for us, and if you don't, we will get you fired. What started innocently led to that.
Can you just go through a list? Because we can't know anybody's true motive. Most people don't even understand their own motives. Like we don't know ourselves that well. But we can look at their behavior and then make inferences, judgments on the basis of it. So they're attacking anyone who isn't for like continuing the Ukraine war. They're attacking anyone
everyone that's anti-war. Everyone. It doesn't matter if it's Ukrainian war. So they attacked everyone with Ukrainian war, Iran war, any war. If you are anti-war, you will get attacked by these people. That's guaranteed.
If you've got questions about Charlie Kirk's murder.
100%. They are most vicious about that.
I think that's just the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And I'll leave it to others to figure out why. But I think that's just amazing and very freaking revealing. Like, what?
Yeah.
If I'm them, if I'm running like an op on behalf of Zelensky, I'd be like, yeah, let's take a pass on like some domestic story in the United States that's got nothing to do with us whatsoever. That would be my take. Like, why muddy our mission with that? What does that have to do with anything? One of these is not like the others. That's the one. That is bizarre. But you're positive that's true.
That is true, absolutely. But like provably true.
Provably true.
Yeah.
I think you've already proved it.
Yeah.
So war, Charlie Kirk, J.D. Vance.
Vance.
What about Trump?
Oh, they are taking Trump.
Still?
Yes. So with Trump, they are much smarter than, and on Trump, again, if anyone wants, I can provide a ton of screenshots and evidence. This is all I did. So I've noticed that every single time Trump goes off rails and kind of detaches from their agenda and goes back to MAGA, like, for example, let's make a deal with Iran, let's make this, the slander starts. Like, yes, the bigger ones, you saw what Lara Loomer did. What, he took Trump's side? No. She didn't.
I didn't actually see what that person did.
So good for you.
I didn't.
No one should pay attention. But these people who are
But what did that person do?
Well, they trashed Trump. They criticized Trump. Like,
recently?
For what? Not recently, when the first deal happened. Remember, like when, what was it? I forget the date, but the first time we actually made the peace suggestion with Iran.
Oh, and but in the last year, she trashed Trump.
Yes, exactly. And then later, it was again the same propagandists, the same people. I remember you had a show about it when you said we didn't even consult with Israel. Yeah. And that infuriated him, these people.
Really?
Yes.
What's
Again,
true?
documentedly, they went completely off rails, attacking everyone, including Trump, JD, and they called JD the worst negotiator or a good negotiator of some sort. Yes. And they were upset that JD Vance, by the way, this Georgian troll as well, the Georgian one that I found, has no beef with vice presidents of the United States, yet he's pushing out things like, why are we sending JD Vance anywhere?
We?
Yes. Yes.
You're in Tbilisi, son.
Exactly. Shut up.
This one out.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So again, documentally, I have the face of the guy. I know who he works for. And you will be surprised, or maybe not, to know that he works for an American company, private company, for the person that used to be part of the same nonprofits.
Yeah.
And led Saakashvili through the revolution.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yes.
Who do they like?
They like Marco Rubio.
They do.
Yeah. The Marco's going to be, I don't know much about Marco Rubio. I don't know him personally. So I'm not going to sit here, criticize or praise him. You know what I mean?
Just want to know what this network of propagandists, and it's literally a network,
Yeah.
they're coordinated, obviously.
They love Marco so much that they want to deport me as an agent, Tucker, and they take Marco. Every time they want to deport me, they go with Marco Rubio. Hey, Marco Rubio, can you just deport Elizabeth Lane? She's a Russian agent.
Aren't you an American citizen?
I am, and I've been American citizen for a long time now, but they want to deport me anyway. I guess I'm ruffling feathers.
So they ask Marco Rubio to deport you.
Oh, yes. I don't know if you got my...
But these people, the people you've described, love Marco Rubio.
They do. They always praise Marco. They never go after him, and they always tag him on everything. Yeah. They are very scared, and this is a fear. I can say this with full responsibility. They are scared of JD Vance and exposing themselves to JD Vance. They never tag him on anything, but they attack him all the time. Like they have campaigns of attacks. And I want to say something about this Michael Weiss guy because it ties into integrity.
Michael Weiss.
Excuse me. Yeah.
No, you're doing well. I don't know how many languages you speak. I speak one, so.
Thank you. So Michael Weiss, he's a very interesting figure. And this is how all of it ties in.
He's a journalist? I don't know who Michael Weiss is.
You know, he's supposed to be a journalist.
He's like is he an award-winning journalist?
You know, I have not looked in his awards.
You got to assume guys like that have won a lot of awards.
Well, his friend does. You know who his friend is?
Who?
Peter Pomerantsev from this famous board that we started with. Oh, yes. So Michael Weiss and Peter Pomerantsev authored a piece together that became NATO's Stratcom's and Atlantic Council's a doctrine piece. On Russia.
Seriously?
Seriously. They authored a piece together on Russia and disinformation or something like that.
They think they own Russia, I've noticed. Guys like
this. They do. They are always the ones that organizations like NATO and others always kind of address to comment on Russia and stuff like that, which is very... I just don't get it. I don't understand it because they know nothing about Russia, really.
But there's a sense of entitlement, like Russia's ours and it's fallen into alien hands, or it's like, what? You're not from Russia. Like, what are you talking about?
None of them are. Yeah.
But do you feel that? I mean, there's an emotional intensity that suggests ownership, lost ownership, like it's been stolen from them.
Very true.
I just think it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Very insightful.
I don't feel that way about any country, including ones my ancestors came from. I was just like, okay, it's your country. I don't want my country to be taken, however. I don't want to lose my First and Second Amendments.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And it is, I don't know why they feel like they own Russia or they should own Russia, but they do. Like I said, Peter Pomerantsev came in front of our Senate saying we should do something about Russians liking Putin. I'm like, are you serious? Why should you do anything about that? Can you just move on? Your country
why is that
Ukraine.
your business?
Yeah. And this is before there was no conflict or anything. It's not even your country. Leave, dude. You chose British citizenship. Go live in Britain.
Yeah, they don't care about countries. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And so Michael Weiss wrote a piece with him that is now used in effect as doctrine by NATO?
Yeah, so by Atlantic Council and NATO. So this is a famous piece. Like I urge everyone to look up because they partnered up on this. And this connection was big for me because I didn't know. I knew that Michael Weiss was trashing J.D. Vance, wrote an article about me, and all this like MAGA trashing comes from this guy a lot. But here's an interesting part. Please follow this story. Michael Weiss is constantly reshared by the Georgian troll I found. Constantly. Tucker, you know a lot at this point about Georgia, but trust me when I tell you, no one in Georgia knows who Michael Weiss is.
Well, I didn't know he was, right.
Why is a Georgian troll or influencer or whatever reshares Michael Weiss articles like almost it's his job for the engagement, right? For Michael Weiss to be constantly, he's one of them. They got thousands like that. So the point is, these operatives these people have reshare each other to boost each other, right? So this Georgian troll constantly shares Michael Weiss so that Michael Weiss is boosted all the time. And there's thousands like him, Ukrainian trolls, Georgian trolls, all of this. So no one in Georgia knows who this guy is. I didn't know who this guy is until I started investigating. And all of a sudden, I find this Georgian that is obsessed with Michael.
Wow.
The same Georgian reshares Ryan Mauro.
What does Michael Weiss do for a living? Does he have a job somewhere?
Yeah, he's a journalist at The Insider.
The Insider.
Yes, this is where he trashes MAGA and wrote an article about me, but it gets better, Tucker. So remember Ryan Mauro?
Yes.
So Ryan was writing a hit piece on me, and he's asking questions about it. He's asking me about this special ops guy that I had on my show. Like I had him on my show with the Navy SEAL. So Russian special ops guy was on my show with the American Navy SEAL. And the idea of the show was, I want to bring two military people on the opposite side together. No politics. I told them both. We're not going to talk about politics. I want you to just see each other as normal people. Two special ops guys discussing life. It was one of the best shows ever. They started talking about their previous wives and how, like, you know, it's always the second or third wife with these people because of their job.
Of course.
I mean, it was the funniest thing ever. Like, Jay loved him, Dima loved Jay, and they were like, we'll send you gifts. Like, this is how the show ended. Okay?
It's how the world could work, actually, if it weren't for people like Ryan Mauro. But yeah.
So true. And so Ryan wants to write a hit piece about me, that I had Russian special ops on my show. How dare I? Okay. So he asks me about this and I engage him because he's stupid enough to give me all this information. So I told him what the show was, all of this. So we are back and forth. Then Ryan stops. The day Michael Weiss drops that article that Ryan gathered for him. I kid you not.
Really?
Yes. I have screenshots of the conversation, Ryan sending me Dima's pictures, asking how it happened, what happened, all of that. Next week, Michael Weiss on The Insider drops an article how MAGA influencer that invited Tucker Carlson, that's a jab on you, and interviewed Candace Owens, that's a jab on Candace, had a Russian Spetsnaz officer and was dating a Russian, completely different person, not this guy, but was dating a Russian. So the idea is that it's a Russian ring going on here. Yeah.
But I just want to say for the record that I don't understand why we're at war with Russia. I didn't want to go to war with Russia. I'm not against Russia. I don't know any Americans who want to be at war with Russia. Like, none of this happened with reference to what people who live here want.
Exactly.
This is like a tiny group of people decided that they own Russia somehow, and we have to use our military and our money to break up Russia into various republics or whatever. Like, nobody wants that. I don't want that. I'm not at war with Russia. I'm not an enemy of Russia. I'm never going to play along with this. Do you know what I mean? We're so far down the road. We're 10 years down the road into this Russia's the enemy thing, and I'm just never going to participate in it. Why would I?
Yeah. And what I don't understand is why Ryan Mauro, who doesn't work for The Insider or Michael Weiss at all, they should not even know each other, gets an article ready, sends it to Michael so that Michael can put it in a bigger outlet like Insider. That's what I don't understand. And by the way, if anyone still doubts it was Ryan, like I said, I have all the proof that it was. And the second it drops, the second the article drops, Tucker, Ryan's message comes through. Not the best day for you, is it?
Yeah, these are mean people.
I was like, Ryan, if you think that me having a Russian special ops and you putting it on an insider somehow scares me or intimidates me, you're very wrong. So
You're from Georgia, so
Yes.
How weird is it to have a Russian boyfriend once in a while? Is that really weird?
It was great, Tucker.
No, but
Yes.
leaving aside like the specifics of your relationship,
Yes.
isn't Georgia right near Russia? That's what I had heard. Someone
It's
had told me
right
that.
there, right there.
Right.
We have
Wasn't
lots of
it-
Russians in there too.
Right. And you speak Russian because you grew up speaking
Absolutely.
Russian, like most Georgians.
Yes.
So is it super crazy to date a Russian?
No, not at all, actually. And
Right.
if you go to Georgia today, and due to war, there are a ton of Russians. Like
Right.
literally in every corner, you hear Russian language due to war all the time because the only non-sanctioned country around is Georgia. So they can use their internet and so on.
But they're mad at you because you dated a Russian
Yeah,
once.
they're mad at me because I dated a Russian. By the way, openly, how long have you known that? Since the day I met you, you knew that
Yeah.
I dated Russian because I just speak about it without any problems.
Yeah, you said you liked him. That's
Yeah,
okay.
a lot.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but again, even though he's in past right now, but it's not that, Tucker. I mean, I'm okay with that. They can call me whatever the heck they want. They literally accused our former special ops guys, Green Berets and Navy SEALs, of being Russian agents. So you know what? I'm honored. That's all I have to say.
They accused me of being a Russian agent.
Yeah.
And I have no connection to Russia at all, other than I think it's the coolest country I've ever been to. And I've
It
been to
is.
most countries. So
It is.
that's a high compliment to Russia, but it doesn't. But I'm ultimately for the United States. That's why I'm against funding a war against Russia, because it crushes us, and it has crushed us.
Yeah.
So they I just want to make sure I got through the list. They like Rubio.
They love Marco
Anyone else?
Rubio. Lindsey Graham was their favorite always. In fact, when Lindsey Graham died, it was Roger Stone was the one who posted something really bad, and Ryan just lashed out on him. And I was like, "What are you doing, dude? Like, what are you doing? Why are you going after people that are posting their opinions about Lindsey Graham? Who are you? Why are you Lindsey's little defender?"
That's all very weird. There are
Yeah.
reasons I don't. So they like Lindsey. They like Marco Rubio. Basically, same person.
Yeah. They hate JD. They with Trump, it's cold and hot, depending on if Trump is siding with Zionists. They have nothing to say. By the way, they won't say anything good about Trump. So they just stop. Like if Trump is on the right path, it's like a line.
Right.
But if he goes off the path, I can send you like at least 20 plus something screenshots of them trashing Trump
Do
completely.
they like anyone else? Foreign
Those-
leaders? They like Zelensky?
Oh, yeah. They love Zelensky. They like Finnish President Stubb very much, which is understandable. By the way, did you know that it was Lindsey Graham who introduced Stubb and Trump?
No. That's also
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
It's a great country. They'll destroy Finland.
Lindsey Graham and Stubb apparently were always in contact, and they are good friends. We're good friends.
Yeah. Well, whenever people like this get involved, your country winds up being heavily African. So that'll happen to Finland
Yes.
because that's part of the program.
Yes.
You watch. Check the demographics of Finland today. It's like one of the most genetically cohesive countries outside Iceland in the world. And in 30 years, it won't be. And that's not an accident. That's what they want.
100%. And one more thing, if you allow me to say, so with this propagandists, this Ukrainian and Georgians and these trolls and this NATO experiment of 2019 and all that to put together. So I said they are used, these bot for accounts and these fake accounts are used to amplify then Israeli big names, right? Like this, the propagandists that are under Farah, that are paid. So they are used to amplify. So it's like a well-working relationship between Ukraine's, this company that got hired by NATO in Ukraine, and Israelis. So there's like a good collaboration. Like we have the faces and the big people that are speaking for Ukraine, and you guys have the bots to swarm the comments and change the narratives, right? They had one more thing that was very important, and you would probably never experience it because you're too big, but people like me will. So they protect in the hack integrity initiative, the original hack that we started with. They said, if someone like a voice like me or someone who's like saying that they don't like, you need to block these accounts from the accounts we protect. So what does that mean? So if they are protecting Marco Rubio, for example, or some accounts that they don't want my voice to reach, they will block accounts like me.
I noticed that there's a disproportionate number of veterans on the list of pro-globalist influencers.
Yes.
Why?
I think there's one main reason. Like I said, they need the United States fully under control, and they've trained people in the United States that military is without a question respected, and whatever they say
Not
goes.
by me, it's not. I don't understand. I mean, I respect the men who died, including my ancestors who died defending the country or died in its wars in any case. But I don't know why I would have to respect Millie. You know what I mean? Or some buffoon who happens to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff who uses American lives recklessly. Like, why would I have respect for that person? That person's evil. If you're throwing away American lives, I don't respect you. Why would I?
And you shouldn't. And I'm glad you said that, because I feel the same. But then they will attack you as anti-Western and anti-patriot. So they will call you all kinds of names. But that's
just kind of been here too long to be intimidated by that. Seb Gorka, who's from some foreign country, is going to lecture me.
Yeah. So that's
family fought in the Revolutionary War. I don't think I'm going to take a lot of abuse from you, Seb Gorka. Go away.
Yeah.
Back to Budapest, son. That's how I personally feel. So it doesn't work on me. But I also think, like, if you care about veterans, some of whom are so damaged, as you know.
Yeah.
We've just talked about this at breakfast. Who damaged them? Their commanding officers did that, actually. And the civilian leadership that sent them there did that. Why would I support that?
Yeah. No, but they know that most Americans have been trained into this thought that no matter what, your military has to be put on a pedestal. You cannot question it. And that goes back to...
Who would buy something like that?
Many people, Tucker. Oh. Many people. Like, many people do, because how dare you offend our military? Look what happened when Candice said something like, don't enlist. Everyone lost their shit. I'm like, she's saying the right thing. Like, what? So I will enlist for what? To fight for Israel? Like, are you crazy? Are you crazy?
Yeah. Would your ancestors be proud of you?
No.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. So, and one more important thing, and we can end the saga of these trolls with that. So, Charlie Kirk's case was going on, like the hearing and stuff. And this is more how, like, the connection is so clear with this particular story between the Ukrainian trolls and the Israeli propagandists that a friend of yours was here talking about with, Brucewick, what was his last name?
Alex Brucewitz.
Yeah, Alex. So Alex was talking about, and he said something, well, recently he said, I'm not worried about Lara Loomer being one of them, and he should be. And I'll explain why. So I attend Charlie Kirk's court cases. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows that Elizabeth Lane has been there from day one, even when Charlie's parents were not there, and, or wife or anybody. I was there from day one. This is like before Tyler even got his defense. So I typically attend it. But these last few hearings, I was there, but last two I had to miss due to my business meetings with a friend. So usually I go with girls, 4 other girls. We are all together and we sit through the hearing to document everything so we don't miss anything, okay? I texted girls. They knew I had a business meeting. I said, guys, you're on your own tomorrow and day after. So please document everything if something happens, so we know. And I constantly check with them, like, how are you guys? Did you get in? Did you get your wristband? Whatever. Next day I wake up, Tucker, and the internet is going crazy with my name on it. I'm like, what's going on? And all of a sudden, I see Lara Loomer resharing stuff, like these big names, resharing stuff. And they say, Elizabeth Lane was at the courtroom and got kicked out. I'm literally sitting at home, waking up, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? So everyone reshared this. Lara said that I got kicked out or something similar, like got banned, kicked out. And then it started with this Mormon kid, like some kid that no one has heard about, some new influencer that viciously protects Israel and TPUSA and all these people. He's on air saying, oh, they are well aware of Elizabeth Lane's presence, meaning at the court, and they banned her. Now, English is not my first language, Tucker.
Yes.
But I'm asking you as a pro.
You're doing pretty well.
Oh, thank you. So I'm asking you as a pro, what does Elizabeth Lane's presence mean? What does that mean? That I'm there, right?
Right, yeah.
But I'm not.
Yes.
So I'm literally sitting at home about to have a meeting with this friend, business meeting. And I'm like, what's going on? So I'm texting the girls. We found out that they spread this lie in case someone wants to understand if these people are propagandists or really fighting Russian disinformation, okay? In case someone wants to know. There's a documented evidence on my ex, and not just my ex, how they are lying that I was at the court and I got kicked out because I was harassing a widow.
But you weren't there.
I was never even there. And documentedly, my phone will ring next to my house in the cafe that I had a meeting in, like my phone, if they ever want to check. I have 2 witnesses to say where I was exactly when this was going on. And I have 4 girls at the court that walked in alone with all the cameras. So they can never in a million years prove that I was even there.
What's interesting to me about that is like, this is an organized effort. This is an
100%.
organized propaganda effort. And I just want to say for the 5th time, I don't understand what Charlie Kirk's murder, which was such a tragedy for people who knew him and loved him, what does that have to do with the rest of their agenda? I mean, that's like so out of left field that it tells you a lot. I wish there was an honest person involved in that effort we could ask. Like, what is this?
I don't know.
Why are you paying people to take a specific position in this story?
He just made it up, though, Tucker. That's the crazy part.
Of course.
Like, who makes up a lie like that and gives it to the network to distribute it? And Lara Loomer was one of the big accounts. Reshared it twice from her own and from Loomer Report or Unleashed or whatever she has. So she was not the only one. All of these people that I'm talking about reshared it like trained SEALs. And I was like, guys, are you okay? So what happened, in my opinion, is that they expected me there. They don't know that I was not going, right? They didn't know. So they said, why don't we say that she was at the court, which she would come, right? And got banned. I don't know why they think it's going to ruin my reputation or whatever. Like, I will not investigate or something. So got banned. Or the idea was to really ban me, right? Like, so I was there and someone would really ban me. So that, I don't know what was their intention to do this stuff. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. It's if I said Tucker Carlson got banned from a concert you've never been to. Like, what? So that's exactly what they did. And then we thought about it, me and the girls, we sat and we were like, maybe they wanted to scare you. So the last day, when they knew that video would not be shown to the public, like, I was the only biggest creator that was independent in the court. Rest of them were invited by TPUSA. So Graham Allen's and Benny Johnson's, these are all their people. So I was the only biggest creator that was not invited, but that was in court without invitation. And the other girls were very little creators, small creators, so they didn't have the voice. And we thought that they just wanted to kick me out so I would not say what I saw.
I never talk about this, but you brought it up a couple times, Loomer. What is that? I mean, what is the point of that operation, whatever that is?
You would be happy to know that Lara Loomer, who swears to be President Trump's biggest supporter, reshares Michael Weiss. And I have the screenshots to prove it.
Reshares Michael Weiss attacking Trump?
not. I don't know whether it was Trump or definitely reshares Michael Weiss and his opinions, and which I don't understand because Michael Weiss is anti-MAGA and he was always on the liberal side of things. So I don't understand why would Lara Loomer even reshare any of
all
his
these
posts.
people are on the liberal side of things.
Yeah.
Every single one
Yeah.
of them. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what liberalism is. It's
Yeah.
a worldview that it's an effort to destroy the West. Of course, it's worked. But that's where it came from. Same people.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they're all liberals.
Yeah.
I'm not a liberal.
Yeah.
That's why they're always calling you names. You're not a liberal.
Not once I have reshared Mark Levine in a positive light. Not once.
Well, he's a liberal.
So, yeah. So
Definition.
why would anyone do that when they claim to be MAGA? Why would they reshare people like Mauro, which she has done this? And
so what's her agenda, do you think?
I think Lara Loomer is someone who directly works for Zionist globalists. So Zionist / I should say globalist, because they are the same thing.
Yeah.
They are the same thing. Globalist cabal, and she will do whatever they tell her to do, including come after you or Candace or whoever, Megyn Kelly, who did nothing.
She did nothing.
I don't know why they are going so hard on Megyn. And she was just like, can you just keep me out of it? And they were like, no, we won't.
What is that? That is a really interesting. I mean, I've seen this with a lot of people, but Megyn Kelly is the most obvious and most famous example of it. But Megyn did not seek these fights at all, and said it exactly. I'm not. I've got other things I'm interested in, but they wouldn't allow her to be neutral, and they tried to destroy her. I mean, they really tried to destroy her. Like, it was unbelievable what they did to her. Why?
Because you're not allowed to be neutral. Like, again, their main goal, they say, is to fight Russian disinformation. Okay? That's how they go around. Even the Zionists, like Russia, Russia, Russia. You saw Loomer. Oh, it's Iran, Russia, Iran, Russia. So their goal is that. But when you really examine what they do, like I have, they don't fight Russian disinformation. You know how many propagandists Russia has, like real propagandists that they pay to? There are plenty. None of them go after them. They go after independent journalists because it's not about fighting Russian disinformation. It's about killing absolutely innocent and right voices. That's what they do.
Right, because they hate the truth above all.
They hate the truth. Yeah. Yeah.
So are you going to continue doing this?
100%. 100%.
Can I just ask why?
It's a good question, Tucker. I cannot give you like a specific answer. What I know is that I tried to get out of this. Like, I tried to leave and, do something different that wouldn't require me to be in front of all these attacks and stuff. And I couldn't. I wake up every day with a bigger force than me saying, this is your purpose. You need to continue. And no matter terrible things will come, just know. And I spoke to my priest and he said the same thing, like, that more attacks will come after this especially.
That is for sure.
Yeah. So I said, like, bring it on. That's all I can say. Like, why do you do it? Why do you do it, Tucker?
I'm not afraid at all. Not even a tiny bit. I don't know why. But because it's true, and I think it's important to tell the truth or try, knowing you're going to screw it up and, say things that are not true, and then you correct yourself and keep going. But just like make a good faith effort to tell the truth. I think that's like the ticket price to self-respect and happiness.
But it's bigger than that, isn't it, though?
Of
it's
course.
Bigger than that. Something wakes you up in the morning with that thought that you have to continue doing what Tucker Carlson does. And that's like coming from a bigger force.
Well, I certainly
and you're
believe
protected.
That. I certainly believe that. Yeah, protected in some eternal sense, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not in this life, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Elizabeth Lane, thank you. That was, I worried that would be too confusing, but it wasn't confusing. You described it.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. And you described it so well.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm grateful.
This is so important, Tucker. Like, this should be investigated by Congress, like, the freaking church committee was.
Oh, I know.
It's absolutely crazy.
Church committee.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the church committee last night, actually. I was thinking I grew up hearing the church committee was so bad. I can't believe it. Speaking of propaganda. Anyway.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No,
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.